Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you some podcasts and some books that I think will really encourage you and help you grow in your walk with God. I said I was going to share this on one of my last videos, so here I am sharing some great recommendations with you. First, I want to know in the comments if you're more of a podcast girl or if you're more of a book girl. Let me know, podcast/audiobooks or more just like a written book person. For me personally, I really enjoy podcasts and audiobooks because I listen to things a lot when I'm working. That's when I'm cleaning houses. That's when I am able to listen to things, or while I'm cooking in the kitchen or doing laundry or something like that. Which actually that is a great way to grow and to learn. I learned this concept from the Daily Connoisseur, love her YouTube channel, about making your distractions work for you, meaning doing something that you need to get done while you listen to something. So I hope you do that with my channel as well when you can, so that you can make your distractions work for you. Alrighty, so let me share with you one of my first podcasts that I think you will really enjoy if you don't already listen to it or watch her YouTube channel, and that is the Lisa Childers podcast and YouTube channel. So either way, you should check out her content, whether the podcast or YouTube channel. She is amazing. So she used to be part of the Christian group Zoe Girl, and I used to love Zoe Girl when I was younger. But now she is like an apologist. That's the word that I wanted. She talks a lot about refuting progressive Christianity. I read her book, Another Gospel, which was good. But I would really encourage you to check out her podcast or YouTube channel, because she has a lot of guests come on her show and they talk about really interesting topics, questions people have about their faith. Recently, I listened to an interview that she did with Frank Turek, I think is his name, and he wrote a book, which I haven't read, but it sounds amazing, Why I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. And so he was just answering questions that people in the audience had on certain topics, and I learned a lot, like talking about what about the people that never hear the gospel, things like that. So this is a great way to grow. She also has interviewed like someone who used to be like into witchcraft. That was an incredible interview. I listened to an interview that she did with some people about the whole Jim Jones, like, drinking the Kool-Aid thing, that whole story of that cult, which was quite interesting. So check her out. Alrighty, so my next recommendation, which I think I've shared on Instagram before, is called Core Christianity. And Core Christianity is, again, it's a podcast where people can submit their questions they have about the Bible, about the Christian faith, and the pastor who answers the questions, his name is Adriel Sanchez, and he knows the Bible so well, and he's very kind and compassionate, grace-filled in the way he answers questions. And they just go over so many different topics. So that is another great podcast to check out. Now, I want to preface to share this with you guys, I should have said it at first, was just because I'm sharing these tools, these resources, doesn't mean I agree with every single thing that they share. And so I would encourage you to, if you're questioning something, you're not sure about something, look at the word, always go back to the word. What does the word say on this topic? Don't just believe what you hear, but rightly divide the word of truth by your own time of study. So Core Christianity, great option. In fact, the other day I was like, I should submit a question to him, because he answers so many questions and it's really a cool podcast. Okay, next podcast is called The History of the Christian Church. And this has been really cool for me. And I listen to it. I don't listen to it all the time. It's a lot of information that you're learning about the history of the church. And they're short episodes, so that is great, but you're like learning a lot. You're learning names of different like founding fathers of the faith or different theologians, like all of this. But it's really cool because what I'm learning is that as you know church history, it helps you kind of understand where we've been and the fact that like a lot of like what goes around comes around in a sense. Like the problems that they had in the early church there's similar problems that we have today. And it just helps a lot. This is another way to grow your faith in the form of like apologetics, like knowing why you believe what you believe, because you're listening to like, how did they decide like on the Trinity and things like that, like the wording of the Trinity. I haven't quite gotten to that, but understanding, like I'm at the part where they were talking about a lot about the Nicene Creed and why they had to come up with the Nicene Creed, because there was a group of people that wanted to say that Jesus wasn't fully God, and so they had to develop the Nicene Creed to say no, Jesus was fully God. Learning about Constantine, like I didn't know a lot about him, but how he like was the turning point for the Christian church to go through a phase where they were not persecuted as much, because he basically allowed for everybody to have their own faith, and he supposedly was a Christian. And anyways, it's just very, very interesting. So I would encourage you to check that one out as well. Now I wanted to share 2 books with you. And these 2 books are not just like books that I've recently read and like enjoyed. Like these are like A+ books. One I have read recently, the other one I haven't read for a while and I've had for a long time, but these are books like that you want to buy and have at home and you want to share and refer with your friends. So I'm sharing them with you guys. You're my friends. And the first book is called The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness. Both of these books are small, which I love. Like I get overwhelmed with like a huge book. This book is so tiny. Look at this. You could read it in one day. It's by Timothy Keller, and the reason why this is such a good book is because we live in an age where we're being bombarded about what it means to be confident, what your identity means, like where your identity comes from. And this book breaks down the freedom of self-forgetfulness, the path to true Christian joy. And it really is so good. I was just thinking I need to read this again, because lately I feel like I've dealt with insecurities and like trying to find my confidence, not in God, but like in my abilities and things that I'm doing. And I'm like, I know that's not good and it is affecting my joy. And so I'm going to read this again. But if you're struggling with like people pleasing, you're struggling with your identity, you're struggling with trying to get affirmations in the things that you do, then I would encourage you to read this book, and it's so tiny. Alrighty, so the next book is this book is so good, you guys, I almost hit myself in the chin. I think I've already shared this on my channel when I did the, did I? I think I did. When I did my How to Easily Study the Bible series, at least I showed a clip of me looking at it. So I don't know if I talked about it. I may have. But it's called Meditations on Divine Mercy. And I know that name sounds like it's like a Catholic book or something. It's not. It's written by Johann Gerhard. I guess that's how you say it. He was a German theologian in the 1600s. And I believe he wrote this book when he was pretty young. But he was a really influential person. He was a Lutheran, but remember this is the 1600s, so we can't compare like Lutheranism today and some of their more liberal beliefs. But he really loved the Lord. And what I love about this book, so it's kind of like a devotional, but I would say it's more like a meditative like prayer. It is. All it is full of prayers on different topics. So what I love about this is because there are prayers for so many different topics, but that's not even it. So I'm not even saying what I love about it. What I love about this so much is because in almost every single prayer that is beautifully written, he comes back to the heart of the gospel. He comes back to we're all sinners in need of Christ. And because of what he's done on the cross, we have freedom. Like he always comes back to the cross. And that just speaks to my heart so much. It's what I believe we as Christians need to get back to in general. And so I know you're going to love this book. Johann was not without his own experiences of suffering and trials. And I think that you will kind of feel that as you read through his prayers. He dealt with sickness throughout his life. He got the bubonic plague, lived through that, but dealt with other sicknesses. His first wife died. His first child died. He got remarried, and then he also lost other children. And he also lived during the 30 Years' War. So he understood trials and tribulations. So I know you will be blessed by this if you're in a time where you're struggling, or just you want something to encourage you in your prayer life. Sometimes it's nice to read a prayer when you're like, I want to deepen in my prayer life, but I don't always know what to say. I should go through this again, because this is just like something you want to have on hand all the time. Anyways, those are my recommendations to you. I would love to know if you have any recommendations for me or for anyone else watching. Let me know in the comments. It's always great to find new ideas of things to listen to or to read, to grow in our faith and get closer to the Lord. So please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.